All right, guys, sorry we're live, and also, well, not sorry we're live. I'm sorry we're late. I'm glad we're live, and I'm glad we're alive.
I'm sorry we're talking to you today.
Yeah, sorry to
I'm sorry about our awesome topics that we're going to get
sorry
into.
to disappoint you with all of that. I think the mic's like pointing directly at me.
They're disappointed about and it's really high up. They're disappointed about the tardiness of the show, but we're sorry about the good quality show. We're sorry that it's so good that they have to wait for it to go live even though it's late.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm trying to buy you time because you're apparently doing stuff.
We are not off to a good start today. Although we do have something pretty cool in store for you guys involving like hand camming and POV.
At all?
Yeah, it works. I tested it already.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Mind you, that doesn't necessarily mean it will continue to work because that's often the problem we have around here.
Hooray!
We might go a week without touching anything and come back and nothing works.
Everything's changed.
Which isn't what happened this time because we actually changed everything. So it shouldn't be surprising that nothing works.
Yep.
But we're surprised anyway.
Yep.
Welcome to the WAN Show, guys. We've got some great topics today. Apple's value drops by $28 billion, all on account of some leaked celebrity nude photos. The funniest thing about the whole thing, you'll find out later because that's how this show works.
Oh, snap. Also, NVIDIA starts a legal battle with Samsung and Qualcomm at the same time, just throwing punches all over the place.
Heavyweight battle! Ugh. Also NVIDIA. Sorry, NVIDIA.
Correct.
I love you guys, NVIDIA, but like...
no. Also, the first round of like September's crazy mobile month has begun, and we'll talk about some of those announcements later on.
And in other news, 4chan now has a DMCA takedown policy. It's amazing what a couple of celebrity nude photos that get stolen and leaked
Not
will
all
do.
the like child porn and other crap, but celebrity nude photos.
I mean,
Good
Jennifer
job,
Lawrence is upset.
Is she? Is that whose photos were leaked?
Either her or Garner. I can never remember. I don't know the difference. I don't really follow celebrities. It's not Aniston. I know that much. She's the one from Friends.
I know the internet likes Jennifer Lawrence. But I'm not.
I think she's the Hunger
sure.
Games one.
Is she?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's alright. Moving on. Not a show about movies.
I think our volumes are both low. I think the volume is just low today. We can see if that helps a little. All right, guys, we've got a couple of sponsors today. Dollar Shave Club, shave time and shave money. I get all the credit for this bad pun, but it's like in their logo. It's not my fault.
Yeah, don't they say that in their own commercials?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
All right, and Squarespace, 10% off with offer code Linus. Make your own beautiful website on squarespace.com. Don't worry, your website can live somewhere else entirely. Your website doesn't have to be on squarespace.com. You don't pay them to create content for them to put on their website. I mean, what do you think this is? Like YouTube? Okay, technically we don't pay YouTube directly, but they certainly take their cut. Anyway, let's move right into our first topic, because we are running a little bit late, and we're very sorry for that, you guys. You know, the usual story involving technical difficulties.
Today's was a lot worse than normal, though.
Yeah.
I think people have come to be used to like 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, today was pretty bad. I mean, part of the problem is that we're way behind on making videos because we've been out of the office and it was a short week. So there was a holiday Monday this week. So we had to effectively create an entire week's worth of videos in like 3 days. So I was back here filming a lot of the last little bits and pieces of my upcoming HTC One M8 for Windows phone review. It is a very good thing for HTC that they released that before the flood of new products, Note 4, Moto 360, new Moto X, before all that stuff started rolling in, because otherwise I don't think it even would have gotten articles written about it. My video is pretty negative. I love the phone. And I mean phone in like a physical, like made of molecules sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the phone.
Made
The One
of
M8 is still
molecules
great.
sense.
Well, you could argue software is not made of molecules. It's made of thoughts and dreams. Ponies.
Thoughts, dreams, and ponies. That's fantastic.
Linus's software tips. We should just get Barnacles back on the show because I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about. You should replace me permanently.
So like the next time people need to do like an order form for supplies for a programming house, because that exists other than energy drinks, they're gonna thoughts, dreams, ponies.
Thoughts, dreams, ponies.
They'll be like, well, I can't get these two, but we'll definitely get a good stock of ponies.
And like places like Staples, they have it set up so that you can have recurring orders. So like every month you can get 4 ponies delivered.
If you want to fix your software, you just need to like increase the count of thoughts, dreams, and ponies.
Yeah.
And the problems with some softwares, they might have too many ponies or too many thoughts and not enough dreams.
It's all about the ratio.
Exactly.
But the only way to get dreams and ponies, because you can get them both at the same time, is actually to import 8-year-old girls. They have dreams about ponies.
That's really
and
interesting.
it saves
That's
you
efficiency.
space.
Yeah.
Because a 6-year-old girl takes up so much less space than a pony.
This is something that modern software developers have not been doing very well. That's why Windows is so large on your device that you
Yeah,
put
that's
it on.
right. Because one 8-year-old girl could potentially dream of dozens of ponies.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, Apple's value drops by $26 billion on account of the celebrity nude photo leaks. So share prices fell by $4.36 per share, or 4.2%. This is the biggest decline in share price since January 28th, 2014. Oh, yeah, January, when it dropped by $6.19. So it's still up almost $30 since January 28th of 2014. So it's not like Apple shareholders aren't still getting their money's worth out of that particular investment.
Yeah.
Their value is still close to $600 billion. They're still the most highly valued U.S. company in the world.
There's so many things that are like that, though. Like the World Series in the U.S.
Love it. And, I mean, honestly, I think the most ridiculous thing about all of this is it's all just hype.
Yeah.
This is the scary thing about publicly traded companies, is how much of how we value them has nothing to do with anything. Yes, some nudie pictures were obtained illegally, amorally, just in a super crappy. You don't steal people's stuff. And I was actually really disappointed to see, even on our own Linus Tech Tips forum, people discussing how, well, if you don't want nude pictures leaked on the internet, then you just shouldn't take them. And that you have loose morals if you're taking nude pictures. You know what? What, do I have loose morals if my wife sees me naked? Like, is that how this works? Obviously, the picture was intended for a given recipient.
Normally, I'd like try to be devil's advocate, but I just
No. When something is stolen illegally, that's wrong. And yes, online security and taking care of the naked pictures of yourself is your responsibility. You do have to do that because this stuff does happen, but that doesn't make stuff that's out there that isn't as well protected as something else just ripe for the taking. It's still wrong. And the kind of victim blaming that was going on, like, I'm not gonna get into the whole feminazi thing because I'm super not into that whole movement either, but I also strongly disagree with the amount of victim blaming that's going on here. And the whole thing has gotten way too much coverage. I don't even really like that we're even talking about it, because I feel like by drawing attention to it, you're just turning it into a much bigger deal than it is. It's a couple nude pictures of some women. The internet is full of nude pictures of women who did it on purpose, who actually got paid to create those nude photos. Why does it matter if they happen to also star in movies, and why are we obsessing over this, and why is it such a big deal? Let them get on with their lives. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of all that... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, and it wasn't even necessarily Apple's fault.
That was exactly where I was going.
So, yeah. So, like, the Apple spent more than 40 hours of investigation, which doesn't sound like a crazy amount.
That's a lot. Company the size of Apple, the number of engineers they have...
Oh, see, when I read that, I thought about that as like, well, 2 people that's 20 hours of man hours for 2 people. Like, I calculated an overall man hours.
Oh.
But I think you're probably right.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
It was probably a department for 40 hours. So that's a lot. Anyways, and they figured out that it was more using stuff like they were targeting usernames, which are probably not that hard to get. In a lot of situations, they're not. And then using common password stuff and security question hacks, which is like...
Not a hack.
Guessing it.
Yeah. Guessing it or looking it up. I mean, that's the scary thing to me. The way that security is handled, even by companies as large as Apple sometimes, where they'll lock in what kind of a password you can choose, or worse yet, lock in the security questions you can choose.
Super dumb.
The only safe way to set up a security question for yourself, guys, if it's a predetermined list, because especially for celebrities, that information's out there. You think someone doesn't know
what car you first bought or what elementary school you went to or what your teacher's name was? Like, no, that's not that hard to find.
That crap is out there. So the way that I actually do it is I have some security answers that have nothing to do with the question, and I just pick a random question because it is extremely dangerous to just use one of those things. Mother's maiden name? Come on, this is the digital age.
So stupid.
That is very obtainable. And so... yeah, that whole argument exists where people are responsible for their own digital security, but you know what? That's the kind of thing that I think nerd assholes say, quite frankly. Because, yeah, okay, you're into digital security. Good for you.
Yay.
Like, that's cool. That's your hobby. That's great. Some people have other things to do, and that's fine. Maybe they make movies. Maybe they don't sit and research digital security best practices on Reddit every night because they're reading through scripts to make millions of dollars. And maybe you kind of make the argument, oh, well then perhaps they should have a team of people who work for them who manage their digital security. Come on. Be real. These are people, not like enterprises that exist under them. So... I don't even remember where I was going with that, but I'm driven crazy by people being upset that someone doesn't know something that they do. You know what? There's a lot of things that he knows that I don't, and there's a lot of things I know that he doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, if he had a baby tomorrow, I could either be a jackass and be like, well, you got poop on your hands, what, you didn't know how to, do the things?
Nope. Not at all. I know jack all about taking care of babies.
And
that was actually a pretty good analogy because I literally know nothing.
I know you do. So to me, it's just it's so upsetting to see people mocking and see people blaming instead of actually trying to be helpful. Which mocking instead of trying to be helpful, that leads us pretty well into our next topic, doesn't it? 4chan now has a DMCA policy following the whole leaked nude photos incident. This was an article on Torrent Freak. Just going to go ahead and screen share here. So basically, in the wake of all this, 4chan finally intros a DMCA, so that's Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown policy. And I don't know if the more baffling thing about this is that it exists at all, or that if it exists at all now, it didn't exist before with the massive amounts of leaked nude photos on there in the past of just normal people. Once again, putting celebrities on this weird pedestal that, like, there's this weird double standard that exists. Yeah. And two, the amount of child porn.
Oh, God. On
4chan. I mean, 4chan, no offense to 4chan, but it's one of those sites that I avoid just based on principle.
You just don't want someone to be able to know that you went there.
I won't hang out there. It's not even about not wanting people to know. There's incognito mode in your browser. There's sitting in a room alone at night, because I'm usually up till 3 or 4 in the morning anyway. I could visit 4chan if I wanted to, but I would feel bad about wanting to.
Know. The NSA would know.
Yeah, the NSA
And then
might
you'd
know.
show up on their Google search thing. Anyways, I don't even think this will matter at all.
No,
I don't think this will change anything.
It won't affect anything.
It's 4chan's going to move way too fast because 4chan moves way too fast. And
Yep.
they'll be like, oh, we're going to apply a DMCA policy. And someone's going to be like, restart the thread. Doesn't matter at all.
Yep.
Or people will just go to one of the other chans, which there are many of.
So there's that.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just really surprised with the way that 4chan's always been, like, Internet, rah, rah, rah. We can put anything, literally anything on the internet, which you have to respect that principle, even if you don't respect what it sometimes turns into.
Often, okay, not always, but often it's not a bad thing to stand up for.
No. And I totally agree with that principle. It's so baffling to me that even though it won't affect anything, that they had this sudden change of heart.
They probably had to in some way. I haven't read enough into that part, but they were probably forced to in some way. And then I bet you Moot, the guy that runs 4chan, probably knew deep down that it just wouldn't change jack all. Because they can
This
be
is great.
served...
Someone's like 4chan doesn't have CP.
Okay then.
Moving on.
Someone can serve a DMCA thing for him to take it down, and then he'll just be like, "Oh well, the thread 404 it anyways." So, good work.
Yep.
I guess.
Okay, so shall we move on to... Oh, I guess that ties pretty well into Apple denies the iCloud breach. Apple spent... et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, right. So the other things for the iCloud breach is that they the two-step notification thing, and then two-factor authentication is interesting. So I think two-step was not enabled on that account, correct? I think that's how that went.
I don't have two-factor authentication on any of my Apple accounts. I'm not sure if they support it.
Two-factor, not yet. Recommends users to use their two-step verification if they're concerned about security, but two-factor authentication will also cover iCloud in the next revision of iOS, which will be later this month.
Yeah, so that's coming very soon. Actually, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming with iOS 8. I've been using iOS 7 as much as I can leading up to the iPhone 6 launch, when I'll take a run at it with iOS 8. And there's a couple things I'm excited about. We're finally getting SwiftKey. So there's that.
That's a big one.
But yeah, I mean, adding more security to things, especially two-factor authentication, which is basically a way of not just securing something with a password, but also with an email or an authentication token that you have to use an app on your phone that you've authenticated separately, is great. It saved my Hotmail account from getting hijacked back when I had my YouTube account hijacked. And if I had lost the Hotmail account, which was set up as the backup email, it would have been much more difficult for me to get the YouTube channel back. So having two-step authentication or two-factor authentication is super, super awesome, and everyone should use it.
Yep.
But we're also not going to blame people who don't use it.
Nope.
All right. Motorola officially launches your new phone. Want to talk about it a little bit?
Probably my new phone. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but very highly. The big problem I have with it is there's a lot of improvements, and I'll get to there in a second. Well,
the big problem I have with it is there's a lot of improvements. Isn't it great how when you take things out of context, they're funny?
Jerk. I love how you admitted it was taken out of context, though. That helps me. It's running a 2300 milliamp hour battery, which is like, dudes. But then at the exact same time, my current Moto X also has a teeny little battery, and it's not really that
does
big
all
of a
right,
deal.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a very efficient phone. It runs stock Android, so there isn't a whole bunch of crap running on top of it. And I have always been pretty Nazi about all the kind of stuff that's running on my phone. I don't like extra stuff running on my phone, so I don't have battery issues.
Yeah, I found one that was wrecking my phone battery on the One M8. Plex.
Really?
Yeah. I would after
like idling Plex?
Idling Plex. Yeah, doing nothing, like boot up the phone and touch nothing, and then leave it there at 100% and come back at the end of the day and it's at like 20%. Whoa. Having not touched it. Like brutal. So I uninstalled Plex, and Android kernel started using way less. So instead of like through task management programs, I wasn't even able to narrow down which one it was, because it was just hiding itself under multimedia something and then like Android kernel. We're both using ridiculous amounts of power. So it's like, Plex, I like you, but this isn't going to work for me.
With fairly heavy usage and leaving the thing on Moto X, where on this like idle screen where it shows the time and the lock, it'll show what notifications are coming in. Yeah. Leaving that on, which is kind of suicide. But
that's OLED, so that helps.
Stuff. I know, but still, it still takes battery a little bit.
A little bit.
I can still get through a day and a half of fairly heavy use, and this thing has a teeny battery. So it's not ideal, but I'm not super worried at the same time, because of the experience I've had with this phone,
Right.
I'm hoping that it'll still be okay on the new one.
If we get a loaner unit, I know we're not getting a keeper unit from Motorola, but if we get a loaner unit, do you want to do the review?
Sure.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So basically, it's got a Snapdragon 802 2.5 gigahertz processor. This is much closer to flagship class than the original Moto X was.
Yeah.
That was never intended to compete with the One M7 and the Galaxy S4 at the time. It was meant to be like a, you know, kind of step down, but very practical and very nice, all that. But this one, no, this is like balls to the wall. So 5.2-inch 1080p Super AMOLED screen, 2 gigs of RAM, 16 to 32 gigs of non-expandable memory. Front-facing speakers, though.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Pretty stoked about that.
And then a lot of the usual customization features. So we're even getting those wood-paneled backs, which I think is super awesome.
The ring flash is fairly interesting. Now the camera, it has a silver ring on this one, but it's just, oh, you can't really see it at all. It's just for aesthetic reasons. On the new one, there's going to be a ring around the actual camera, which is its flash, which looks a little bit interesting because it looks like you have like, in some of the pictures at least, it looks like you have a jewel embed around your camera, which looks like super ghetto.
Right. Speaking of weird camera stuff, the iPhone 6 is rumored to have a raised camera bump as well, which is so un-Apple-like to compromise design for better functionality, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. Because on the one hand, I do appreciate better functionality, you know, and I'm willing to give up a little bit of, you know, a bump here or a, you know, widget there or a dongle or whatever else. But on the other hand, Apple was the one pushing the other guys who would compromise a little bit to strive for better design by never compromising on that. So as much as I might not use a ton of Apple products, I appreciate what they've done for the industry. And if they let it slip, I have a feeling the Samsungs and HTCs and LGs of the world
We'll just completely drop the ball.
will let it slip that much more. I wasn't going to say completely drop the ball.
I'm down with that. I don't really buy Apple products. There was a thread on the forum fairly recently where I talked about this. I didn't even buy one of those old school iPods. I had a Creative Zen. Like, I've never really been the dude that buys...
RCA Lyra.
There you go. I've never really been the dude that buys Apple products at all. But I've always appreciated their existence because when they got into stuff like the MP3 market, either people got out of the market or stepped up their game.
Yep.
And then I will buy the products from the dudes that stepped up their game. I'm that dude. But I still appreciate their existence because they do that. So I hope they don't screw up in the absence of Steve Jobs.
So it's going to be $100 on contract or $499.99 unlocked, which actually isn't that bad. Sure, it's not that competitive with something like a OnePlus One, but you can buy it without an invitation. And also, OnePlus One is another one. OnePlus.
You also don't have to like hate the company that makes your phone.
I think hate is a strong word.
Okay,
I think
maybe
they're
strong word.
mostly misguided.
Sure.
I don't think they do unpopular things on purpose. I think they're legitimately trying to be liked. I think at some level they just kind of don't get it, whether it's a cultural barrier or whatever.
They're just like
else.
that dude that jumps into the room and is like, "Yeah, guys, check this out," and everyone's like, "Oh, no."
It's like, you know, that thing you've got there is pretty cool. I just wish that you hadn't gotten your armpit grease on it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mostly like you. Speaking of things that I mostly like, the Moto 360 has finally been announced. This was originally posted by Cyan Bob on the forum. Speaking of which, Red Round 2 posted the Apple denies iCloud breach, 99VW posted the other Apple value drops thing, and then the Moto X1 was posted by Dismo. I gotta give you guys the shout out.
And one thing I want to shout out too before we move on is that a lot of the articles from this week were written very well and were like pretty long and well quoted with your own interpretation of what's going on and your own thoughts and opinions and stuff.
That will be more
awesome.
important very soon.
Yeah.
We'll have more details about that in a little while. So the Moto 360 is announced. You can pre-order them. They're $250 US or 280 Canadian. Available in the US now, Canada later in the fall. Can be purchased from Motorola's website or the Google Play Store and from Best Buy. This is the same Moto 360 we've been talking about for a long time. The main difference is now you can actually buy one. And once again, are you going smartwatch, my friend?
I actually probably will be, but then this brings in another worrisome thought, which is where the Moto X that I'm thinking about jumping to because I have to give my current phone back to its rightful owner, has not a huge battery, even though it might be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to run these connected all the time, and that could be another strain on the battery.
Yes, it's less than you would think as someone who uses a smartwatch already.
I never have, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you could probably benchmark it, but day to day, it's not going to be like, oh my god, I have my Pebble on, I had to pull out my charger 6 times. It's not that kind of a difference, and the benefit is just... oh, man. So great.
I would like one because I've noticed more and more that I just leave my phone somewhere near me. And I really like the screen feature where it'll tell me what notification I get because it'll buzz because I usually have it on vibrate because we film.
Right.
And I'll just look over. And if it's not like an email or a text, if it's like Instagram or Twitter or whatever, I'm like, okay, I can probably leave that for a little bit and check it later and it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And things like being able to control music.
Yeah.
I that's what I do 90% of the time that I'm interacting with my Pebble when I'm not checking the time or reading a message. Is I'm controlling music from my pocket because, and this is another frustration, as much as I love the way that Apple moves things forward in some ways, things like inline controls that work with your phone. Yeah, Apple also doesn't necessarily do all the standards all the time. So a lot of headsets, particularly from companies like Sennheiser that I really like, will have these inline controls that don't work with my Android phone. So this is the way around it, being able to leave my phone in my pocket.
That is cool. And this has OK Google support as well, right?
Yes. So you will, I mean, aside from with the Moto X, you'll have support for Google Now from your pocket anyway.
Yeah, but I'm assuming this will be able to hear it better, and if I leave my phone somewhere else.
Yes. And this will work with other phones that don't have that feature as well. Yes. The thing I worry about here is battery life. So anything with an always-on, not e-ink or, I forget, Mirasol display, I worry very much about what the user experience is like. And I would have liked to see someone pick up where Qualcomm left off with the talk. With that Mirasol display. It was much more power efficient than even AMOLED. I mean, you can see that Motorola is trying here. If we go back to the picture of the watch, you can see that the stock watch face is mostly black. That's the way AMOLED works. Anything that's black is actually powered off. So you're going to get some power savings just by having thin white elements on an otherwise black screen. I just am not sure if it's going to be enough. I already run out of battery on my Pebble from time to time, and that one lasts me about 4 days. So for something that I have to charge every night, I feel like it's a bit of a hassle.
Right. I don't know. These are two things that I'm extremely interested in acquiring myself, and because I think they should honestly work pretty well together. But I'm gonna need to, and like the watch, like I'm gonna have to wear the watch before I decide I'm gonna buy it. Yep. I'm not gonna just order it online and be like, it'll show up and I will like it. No.
That was one of my big problems with the talk. Was it just plain wasn't comfortable?
Yeah. And this is where when we joke about Best Buy as like the Amazon showroom. Like, we actually need an Amazon showroom.
Yeah.
We need showrooms from these companies. Not necessarily stores, but showrooms. Because I'd like to go in and be like, oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. And maybe have it be like the NCIX Langley kind of idea, where you can order something online and get it shipped there and then pick it up.
Well, I mean, you look at what guys like T-Mobile are doing, moving things into the 21st century where they were doing trial devices.
Yes, super cool. That would be awesome.
That kind of thing I'm totally down for.
If I could go like new Moto X and Moto 360, let's do this for a week. That would be great. And I would know my answer for sure at the end of it.
Yep.
And that would be exactly what I want.
The issue with that is you'll never see a program like that at launch. So for the enthusiasts and early adopters, the folks like us and the people watching this show, that might not be that appealing because you're always going to have limited quantities of something available at launch. Even someone like Apple, where they've got iPhone 6 in full-fledged, full-scale mass production, like weeks or even months ahead of the actual launch date, you can still never make enough of them. Unless it's like a bad product, in which case, who wants to use it anyway?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next topic here.
Sure.
Mozilla leaves a ton of passwords on a fairly open server Twice.
Okay, so there was
Hold on.
a...
Posted by Rainfall Within on the forum, and the original article is from Hot for Security. Take it away, Luke.
There was a freaking ton of misinformation about this, so I'm going to go through it generally and then clear up some stuff that there was misinformation about. So, for the second time in a month, one of them was at the beginning of August, and one of them was on August 27th. So, the first one was 76,000 email addresses and 4,000 heavily encrypted passwords, not plain text passwords. And those were left publicly accessible on a server for 30 days. Not good. And then on August 27th, they found that 97,000 users also had issues who were not... This isn't Firefox browser users. This is one of the big misinformation thing. This isn't like I had Firefox browser and my email was randomly stored on the server. No. These are people that were running test builds, not even just the normal thing, test builds of Bugzilla. Very specific. And not people that were signed up on the Bugzilla forums, not people that were accessing their accounts in that way, just actual people signed up directly for the test build of Bugzilla. Those are the people that were affected. So I saw a couple people like jumping ship off Firefox in the massive browser war that thread turned into, which it should not have turned into, but internet, so it did. We're jumping ship off Firefox because they're like, oh no, my email's stolen. No, dude. Only if you were a Bugzilla pre-release tester. Like, not even just someone who used Bugzilla, but someone who was like developer level testing for Bugzilla. Anyways, and no, they did not make the same mistake twice within a month and like make a mistake and then make a mistake again knowing that they made the first one. That's not what happened. They discovered a mistake, and then what I'm assuming is they searched for more and then discovered another one that was made previously, because the second one had been open for, I believe, 3 months. So they found 2 mistakes. They didn't make 2 mistakes in 1 month. They were, I believe, 2 or 3 months apart. And like I just said, I'm going to have to assume they found the first one and then were like, oh crap, and started looking around and found the second one. So yeah, tons of misinformation going around about that thread. And then like tons of misinformation for the first about page and maybe a quarter. And then all the rest of it was just this stupid browser war.
Because it's the internet.
Come on. Yeah, because internet.
Yay, like, internet.
Yay. Yeah. My browser takes 0.00001 seconds.
And it's already happening in Twitch chat. I use IE. Tor browser master race.
No one cares.
Chrome is my main driver, but it's heavy as hell. That I'm with you on that one. Yeah. I also daily drive on Chrome.
I don't, but it is heavy
as hell.
It
drives me crazy.
They all suck. Let's just come together and accept that they're all
together.
Horrible. We need slower iteration now. And more solid builds. That's what we need.
Okay, so I have a straw poll for you guys. I am not going to be here for WAN Show next week. In like a span of a month.
You're not?
No. I'm going to be at the event in California.
That's next week?
That's not that event in California. We have the event together in California the following week. Yeah, I have no idea how we're going to get content for the channel over the next couple weeks here. So in a span of like 4 weeks, I think we're doing like 5 events. So we did PAX. I have a secret one coming up. We're doing the Mod 24 NVIDIA thing, which there will be more details about revealed tomorrow. Okay. So stay tuned for that. You're going to CTIA, so that's the wireless industry show.
Which will be interesting. That's the first time we're doing something like that.
And I feel like there's one more I'm missing.
Lots of feedback.
Germany's coming up.
Yep, Germany's coming up.
Germany's coming up soon, actually.
Everest was almost coming up.
Can I talk about this?
What?
I guess so.
Germany?
So Luke and I are going on a European field trip. So we will be touring 2 very cool factories.
We should rent a yellow bus.
No. It's not in the budget.
A really short one.
At all. So we are going to be visiting the Cherry factory. You know, the guys who make keyboard switches. This is going to be courtesy of Corsair and Cherry. And we are going to be touring the Sennheiser facility as well. And we are potentially going to be getting an interview opportunity with one of the co-founders of Sennheiser. And or sorry, one of co-CEOs, excuse me, and we are potentially going to get an opportunity to interview the guy who does their product development. So the guy who designed the HD8 DJs, for example, I'm
sure you'll like to meet him.
I get to congratulate him out of one side of my mouth for how amazing they sound, and then ask him why the hell there isn't at least like an aftermarket option for increasing the headband padding a little bit. Because after like a couple hours, it starts to wear on me. But I'm just like, oh, but they sound so good. And I'll like take them off, I'll put on something else, be like, oh, screw it, so nice. Put them back on.
That's why I like my 595s so much. Even though I recommend 555s because you can just do the rubber band hack. But they just feel so comfy. I could literally wear those forever.
Yeah, and the HD600s are the same. They sound really great, but they're open, which is a bit of a problem because at the volumes I like to listen to sometimes, that can be an issue because the baby is through a wall.
I live alone.
But probably 4 feet from my desk.
Right.
Very close.
Yeah.
And she is a very late sleeper. All right, so anyway, I'm not going to be here next week, so I want you guys to tell me who you want Luke's co-host to be. Some of these people aren't even options, and I'm more just curious. It's like a popularity contest, and I just want to see who wins.
Aren't even options.
So the options are Barnacles, Timmy Tech TV, Edsel Terran, and Cold SC, who is Luke's brother. All right, so we'll go ahead and
Cold SC in number 2.
Throw those results up there while we move on to the next topic. What else we got?
I was staring at the results.
Of course you were.
A bunch of tablet stuff.
Yeah, Lenovo launches a tablet. It's $199.99. It's got a 19 by 1200 display. It's got an Atom processor, which is very interesting to me. Asus was showing off some great Atom-powered stuff at CES this year. That it's like, yeah, Snapdragon, whatever, Adreno GPU, cool. And then there's like Intel's onboard graphics, which might not be that great in a notebook, but you throw that stuff in a tablet, it's like,
freaking awesome.
Damn.
It also has 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigabytes of storage. And
16 gigs needs to go away
16
now.
gigs needs to die.
Like now.
Why does that still exist?
Like it's one thing if you give me enough storage for all my apps and I have to put all my other crap on an SD card or even cloud storage.
We should
hold on. We need a growling contest. Okay, I can't keep a straight face.
I win.
All right, back to the results.
Don't lose growling. That was probably really bad for my throat.
Yeah, probably. You probably shouldn't have done that.
Sweet.
I egg him on. All right, it has a 4290 milliamp hour battery, Bluetooth 4.0, Dolby, whatever, totally worthless. But they're front-facing speakers. That's the important part. 8 megapixel rear camera, 1.6 megapixel front camera. If you're going to put a 1.6 megapixel camera on something, I would say don't bother.
You know what the best part about that growling contest is?
Yes.
We probably just peaked the whole time.
Oh, we totally did. I'm monitoring.
Nice.
All right, there's an LTE model available at a higher price, and it runs Android 4.4 KitKat. It will also have 64-bit compatibility. And I would encourage you guys, if you aren't already, go subscribe to Tech Quickie because we have a once and for all 32-bit versus 64-bit video coming out that I want you guys to watch and then I want you guys to share because
more RAM in Windows, bro.
Yeah, because it contains a lot of information that... Actually, it doesn't contain that much information. But it contains information that people need to know. Which is that 64-bit is not... I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. All right, so moving on. Looks like Barnacles is out ahead, although Cold SC is actually not that distant a second, which is good because it'll probably be Cold SC. It was already kind of a foregone conclusion. I traded him a graphics card for a couple of WAN Show appearances, so he's already prepaid.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, so... Oops, wrong window. Another tablet.
Yes. Let's talk about that one. Hold on. Original posters. So Top War Gamer posted the Lenovo 8-inch Android tablet, and Rainfall Within posted the Mozilla story. All right, moving on to the Toshiba one. So that's Top War Gamer again. Hit us. What do we got?
It's named the Encore Mini. It has a 7-inch 1024 by 600 screen. It is a $120 Windows 8.1 tablet, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we're talking like x86 Windows 8.1, so...
Quad-core Intel Atom processor, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. But it does have an SD slot for expansion, so there we go, because we can do what we were just talking about, which is you can have your OS and your apps and then a whole bunch of files on the side.
Your music and your videos. I mean, with micro SD capacities up to what, like 128 gigs these days? Like, it's just kind of a joke to be concerned about having to store stuff on micro SD, especially if it's stuff like songs or movies or whatever else.
Yeah, no big deal. It uses Windows 8.1 with Bing, which is a horrible sentence to say.
I know.
It's so bad.
You know, it's funny. I was playing around with Cortana on my HTC One M8 for Windows review. One thing that I was just kind of like, you know...
Bing?
Can I just reconfigure this so that when it does do an internet search, it just uses something other than Bing, please?
Just anything. Just don't use Bing. Anyways, there's a few drawbacks like bad viewing angles, no Windows button.
That could be a song. Just give me anything. Oh, no.
Bing.
Yeah, but Bing. Well, I would do anything to search, but I won't Bing that. No, I won't Bing anything for search. Sorry, I'll let you finish the story now.
That was great. That should be our next song. We did the rap. Now we can do like
anything but Bing's.
But that, but remixed. Fantastic.
Someone says Bing is literally Google with a skin.
No, it's
I'm
not.
sorry, but you're dumb. I don't usually say that kind of stuff.
Wow. Oh my god.
But it's like not.
Wrecked. Oh, wrecked. Sorry, that was bad. If it was Google with a skin, I might actually use it.
I know, right? Because it looks all right.
It does. It looks good.
Okay, sorry. Talk about this tablet.
So yeah, it has drawbacks because it's $120. So
yeah.
There's going to be drawbacks. Full Windows isn't necessarily optimal for a 7-inch screen either. What the heck? And it's, I don't know, it's a super cheap tablet.
So it is what it is. Why don't we move on?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. More exciting news is that the AMD R9 295X2 is on promotional pricing, which I think means...
Basically AMD code word for...
It is now this price.
We dropped the price to something more competitive.
Don't buy it at anything other than this price.
Also, we're trying to give NVIDIA the business, because NVIDIA tried to drop Titan Z down to what, $2,000 I think, to select system builders, and AMD's like, we're gonna do $1,000 for ours. We're still half the price. So yeah, so through specific retailers for as low as $1,000. For $1,000, do you think that card makes sense?
I don't like Crossfire SLI, and I especially don't like them on the same card. But it is kind of interesting.
Alrighty then.
Interesting.
Okay. At $1,000 though, if you're going for raw FPS, can you come up with a better solution? He's thinking,
off the
but
top of my head,
yeah.
No.
The answer is kind of no. Like, you do have to find a spot for the radiator, but at $1,000, what else can you buy? You can pick up two 780s, but those are going to be 3 gigs.
Didn't 290s just get a price drop as well?
I think, yeah, but 295X2 is 2 fully fledged 295X or 290Xs. It is not 2 290s because due to the water cooling, they were able to make it a fully.
So you could do something for the same price, but not necessarily lower.
And not even quite. Okay, yeah, the same price, but that would be. But that diamond card on Newegg there for $489 is that those are 290Xs, right? Okay, but that is a dual slot card.
Yep.
Whereas a 295X2 is a dual slot card for 2 GPUs.
But we didn't have a limit for slots or like case size or anything.
I think I said better solution, but then I said in terms of raw FPS. Mind you, 290Xs, particularly if you crossfire them, unless you have an extremely well ventilated case, could easily throttle, whereas a 295X2 won't due to the liquid cooler. So in terms of raw FPS, it might still win.
And then liquid cooling these would make them better, but would also massively increase the cost.
Much more expensive. So
I don't think G10s would be enough.
I don't know. Go AMD. That said, that's probably the most exciting thing AMD did this week, and they actually launched a new GPU based on a new microarchitecture.
Yikes!
Tonga is the least interesting thing ever. I think I pretty much said that in my video. I mean, it's good. It slots in at around the same price point as the card that it replaces, that is around the same price.
Exactly what everyone thought it would do.
Yes. It's more power efficient. It has better feature support. So you've got FreeSync as well as hardware H.264 4K encoding and decoding.
And the like super weird but kind of interesting multi-monitor speaker arrangement setup thing.
Yeah, where it like automatically makes it left, right, center channel.
If you're using the internal speakers on your monitors for a massively expensive triple setup using a 285. What?
Yeah, I know, right?
I read that and I was like,
The only big issue I have with it is that they cut the RAM from 3 gigs to 2 gigs in an era where more RAM is becoming more important every day.
Yeah.
And when AMD themselves, almost a year ago now in Hawaii, spent so much time talking about how important it was that 290 series had 4 gigs of RAM compared to the competition's lower frame buffer amounts.
Yeah.
So AMD, guys, you gotta figure out your story
fix
here.
your naming.
Yeah,
God.
285 is kind of brutal. Like,
What are you doing?
what would you have rather they did?
I don't know, not that. They shouldn't have done the
280
R9, R7 thing in the first place.
280. Yeah, you know what? I actually screwed it up in the video. I called the R7 260X the R9 260X, and someone called me on it, and I was just like, you know what? I don't care. Because that's dumb. It should just be the 260X. You know what? From now on, let's make a pact.
Everything's R9?
Nothing is
Or
R.
just we don't give the Rs at
No,
all?
there are no Rs.
See, I did that on one of my graphs and everyone freaked out.
Nope. Okay, well, from now on, that's okay.
Should we just do it R?
Yeah.
Like it used to be?
Yeah, let's call
Like
it.
it should have been?
We'll just like the old code names, like the R600 code name.
Yeah.
We're just gonna be like, okay, R260X, and like GF. No, because I'm okay with Nvidias. It's like GTX is gaming. Okay, so it's just GTX whatever. You don't really have to say GeForce anymore. Just like Radeon. So we'll go R whatever and then GTX whatever. And people will understand and they will like it.
Because the R stands for Radeon.
Speaking of people liking things, for the number of people who complained about us running overclocked benchmarks on our GPUs, I think that many times several complained about us not running overclocked benchmarks. Goes to show you nobody's ever happy. No. So I think what we should do is maybe go back to overclocked benchmarks, but with a caveat. So maybe instead of going balls to the wall on the graphics cards, let's do the same thing we do on CPUs, where we aim for that low-hanging fruit number.
See, the problem with that, and the reason why we haven't done that in the past, is actually because with CPU launches, it's much more orchestrated. We
Right.
have more information from more people. With graphics card launches, we're in the black.
Okay, another thing though.
So I have no idea.
Actually, this is a new thing that I kind of decided today. I was like chatting with Brian Trout from PCPer on Skype, and I was just like, you know what? I don't care about embargoes anymore. We're not going to hit embargoes anymore. We're going to do everything late.
Lol.
And we're going to try it for a little bit, and some people probably won't like it, but there are a couple of reasons for this. Number one is that we're a YouTube channel first and foremost, and YouTube actually prioritizes newer content in search results. So us being a day or two or even 6 hours after everyone else has been beneficial for us in the past. Reason number two, speaking of beneficial for us in the past, we have launched content as much as months late.
What about the Noctua cooler? Wasn't that like a year late?
Something like that. I mean, the Pebble, the original Pebble, if you look for here. So this is a perfect example. Let's screen share with Linus. I searched for Pebble. My Pebble smartwatch review was months late. Months after everyone else did unveilings and hands-on and full reviews. And yet, 274,000 views. I believe that's the one of the most for any original Pebble review. And I was way late. So the way that I'm kind of looking at it is, you know what? Maybe let's not make it about the product so much. Let's make it more about having great quality content, making sure it's right, and not staying up until 4 a.m. the night before to finish benchmarking something when we can just release something else that day and do it right. So I don't know. It's not 100%. It's just something I was kind of kicking around.
I think it also
sharing
just
it with you
kinda
guys and
depends on what it is and when we get it. Because a lot of times, like with the Extreme Edition, like when we got the BIOS for that board, like the day before I had to do all the testing. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a perfect example. X99 got pushed up. I think mostly people know this. If you've been following the rumor mill, the rumors changed at some point, which is often an indication that something changed. So we got a finished retail BIOS, which, in fairness to Asus particularly, was not very different from the previous one we had, which wasn't very different from the previous one we had. In fact, I think the only bugs they fixed there were, like, if you didn't have a CPU fan installed, the ignore CPU fan speed feature didn't work or something like that. Like, it was minor tweaks. So
Yeah.
Asus actually had their crap together reasonably well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that we got a new NVIDIA driver optimized for X99, I think 3 or 4 days before launch. 3?
3, and that was over a weekend.
Yeah.
So, like, not very helpful.
Yeah, we got a new Asus BIOS
at PAX.
like a couple nights before the launch. Like, it was very last minute. And you know what? No one seems to have minded that our 5960X video went up on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So there you go. Apparently we only need 11,000 more subscribers to get to 1 million.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah. People want us to discuss PewDiePie's disabling of comments. So this was originally posted by Oh No Tech on the forum, and I actually went ahead and I posted on Facebook asking what people thought, whether we should do the same thing. And there were some really interesting thoughts there, but I'll let you kind of cover exactly what happened here. Original article here's from Kotaku.
Here it is. One thing I want to talk about before I even get into this is I've talked about PewDiePie on the show before and about how I think I've used the wrong terminology. I probably said I don't like him. I don't like the character he portrays in most of his videos. After watching this, I went through and watched like a couple other videos that he's done. Like you brought up the the Fine Brothers.
Yeah, YouTubers react. He's a lot more sane.
I ended up looking that up, and I watched this video and stuff, and like, seems like a pretty smart dude. No problem with that. I'm just not interested in his content. So, anyways, he has decided to disable comments forever. This has been because he is sick of seeing mainly spam, people self-advertising, and people trying to provoke others, and all the other people responding to those things, making them go to the top and making them the main things that people are actually looking at, especially with YouTube's new style of comments.
Yeah, and you know, it's always been a problem. New comment system, old comment system. As you get bigger and bigger, the signal to noise ratio in the comments goes down. Yeah. And no offense to Felix, but something about his style of content, I think, attracts a less sophisticated commenter.
Yeah. Which is, again, one of the reasons why I don't like his...
Okay, go ahead with the rest of the story, and then I'll talk about sort of some of my thoughts on it as well.
The main issue is that most of the positive feedback, or even like constructive negative feedback and welcome suggestions and all that kind of stuff, are buried under all this what is essentially junk crap that gets in a lot of the videos.
Yep.
And he has said, "I just want to connect with you, bros," which is currently... That was a quote. Which is currently impossible, essentially, because it's just buried under all this stuff. And you have to imagine how many comments he gets on all of his videos. He's not going to be able to read every single one of them.
I don't think you could actually read that fast at his scale.
Don't know if it's possible. Like, yeah, he'd have to have a team of people, and that's insane.
He could afford it.
He could probably afford it.
I have a team of people, and I'm like a fraction his size.
Just to read comments, though?
Just to... Well, I wouldn't spend my money on that.
You'd have to have a whole department of people just to sit in a room and read YouTube comments and, like, collate all the important ones and hand you a package.
Even if I was making $4 million a year, I don't think I would spend it on that.
So stupid. Anyways, so he's decided to try and move to things like maybe direct Twitter interaction, Twitter hashtags, that he can hashtag a certain video. Then you can look up that hashtag to see what people think about that certain video.
Subreddit.
Or a subreddit or something like that. Things that people like Total Biscuit have already been doing.
Pewds isn't going to watch this. But if he did, I would suggest that maybe it's time to not necessarily be so married to being a one-man operation and invest in something like building a community. The linussquarespace.com forum is
awesome.
Awesome.
That's why I always have the call to action to, if you don't want to post on YouTube, post on the forum, because I always read every single comment on every single video that I make that is on the forum thread for that video. I read all of them, hands down.
And so that's what I would encourage him to do, because there you can actually foster the kind of attitude and the kind of community that you want. I mean, mostly, once it reaches a certain tipping point, there's only so much you can do, but at least
it's usually more refined because it takes that extra step.
Yes. And having your own community is so much more of a powerful way to connect with people and have them connect with each other. I think that's the thing that's missing in a lot of social networks, is the connection between bros, so to speak, as opposed to between PewDiePie and all the bros. So I would really encourage him to allocate some of his $4 million a year to someone to build a community for him and do community management.
You could probably get a pretty cool server, probably better than ours.
Yeah, probably better than ours. All right, so, I wanted to give some of my thoughts. So I went ahead and I posted on Facebook asking people for their thoughts, and I read most of what came in the first half an hour or so. And I had a lot of people saying, yes, it's a cesspool. And I had a lot of people saying, no, it's not, with some people even going as far as to say, I'll unsubscribe if you disable comments, which I think is ridiculous, because it's not. YouTube is a video watching site first, and a commenting on the video site like sixth. There's a lot more stuff that you can do on YouTube.
I actually find that I watch more of Total Biscuit's videos now that he doesn't have comments than I did in the past.
So anyway,
might sound weird, but it's even though I wouldn't really read them that much, and even though I'd only really get the top comments, his videos seem less aggressive. Right. Not because he's doing it, but because like the overall experience. The
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally about that. And I guess that's what got me thinking. So I had a lot of people saying, no, don't do it, because, sometimes I post questions in your comments and I actually get an answer. And it really made me think. And I was also on the PKA podcast last night. We were talking a little bit about poison within the community and how to manage it. And I kind of realized, you know what? Our audience is pretty damn mature.
I was just going to say, I think a big part of it is that we're not a Let's Play channel.
We're not a Let's Play channel. We're not a I don't want to pick on anyone in particular, but we're not like, okay, I'm not going to pick on anyone. But the point is, our type of content is only really interesting to people who are really somewhat technology literate. Yeah. Which I think is going to mean you somewhat know how to use the internet, which of course means we have more ad block users and all that stuff. But, if someone was to go, okay, well, Linus, what would you rather have? Would you rather have users that use ad block and, that couple of pennies or whatever per view doesn't get contributed to you, but they don't poison your community? Or would you rather have these poisonous people that are giving you a couple pennies? I will take the mature community every time, because at least those people I can reason with, with the relationship we have with them over the years, and maybe go, okay, well, hey, maybe you turn on ad block, but would you consider buying a cool t-shirt once in a while?
And that's, we've found a way that at least I personally think the mass majority of our community is cool with us monetizing different things. And I think one of the big problems that I've seen a lot of the ad block guys talk about is they don't necessarily mind advertisement. They don't want to see most of the crap that ends up getting in their advertisement feed. I don't think advertisement in general is necessarily evil. It's
No, because
can be okay.
If you have a legitimately good service,
that's what I mean,
at a legitimately fair price, I appreciate someone taking the time to tell me about it.
So I think it helps that we kind of act as a filter. Speaking
of filters and advertising, we've actually got our sponsor segment coming up. So first up is, and I love this. I love it when this happens. You know why I think I'm always wearing my SquareSpace shirt?
Because you always wear your SquareSpace shirt.
Okay, I have two of them. So I usually wear a SquareSpace shirt twice a week in between laundry cycles, because they're American Apparel and they're so soft and they're so nice. So there's that. So if other sponsors are watching this right now, that's the way to get Linus to pimp your crap. It's that simple. Send him like super nice American Apparel shirts.
Send him like some bamboo shirts.
And on Fridays, I'm usually like my most tired, because it's been a long week. And it's like, you know what? I don't care if I'm like being a poster boy for Squarespace. I'm gonna put my comfy shirt on.
I want a comfy Squarespace shirt.
Yeah, too bad.
I just have this like shirt that I got from Pax. Did I tell you about how I got this?
No.
I'll tell you the biggest like Pax hack after the sponsor.
Okay, so Squarespace, if you guys aren't familiar already, is the fast, easy way to make your own beautiful website. Did I mention affordable? You can save 10% by visiting squarespace.com/Linus and using offer code Linus, and it really is out of everything I've tried anyway, which is a safe statement for me to make because I haven't tried to build too many websites, but it is definitely the easiest way to build a website that's functional and looks great. It looks good on your notebook, it looks good on a desktop, it looks good even on mobile, and it's going to be snappy and responsive because they take care of the actual hosting of the website with a flexible plan that you can go ahead and negotiate with them according to the different tiers, depending on what you need. It's also incredibly scalable, and you can go from 3 people a week are visiting my website about my cats to I'm selling pet accessories and I'm getting thousands of hits a week and people are flooding my site because you can turn Squarespace into a full-fledged e-commerce site with the built-in tools. It's got an easy logo designer, which saves you a little bit of either hassle or expense when you're first starting up, and it's just super easy to use. Also, they happen to be awesome dudes. So there we go. We like Squarespace, we like the people who work there, and we like that they support the WAN Show, and you guys should probably like that they support the WAN Show too, because if it wasn't for sponsors like Squarespace, it would be pretty hard for to do the things that we do. And speaking of other sponsors, Dollar Shave Club. What's Dollar Shave Club? Pretty darn straightforward. Dollar, so symbolic of money. Shave, so symbolic of saving money, and club, which is sandwiches. So it's all about saving money on sandwiches. DollarShaveClub.com. No, I'm totally kidding.
It's saving money so you can buy sandwiches.
Saving money, yes! Dollar Shave Club is all about buying yourself one additional sandwich per month.
So you save money by shaving, which helps you acquire female attention, which then you can buy stuff so that they can make you sandwiches. So not only does Dollar Shave Club hopefully help you get into a relationship,
we were
because
trying
you are
to
now clean shaven.
Earlier in this very show,
But
we were
if you
trying
can't
to be
cook.
we were trying to be progressive about treatment of the opposite sex, and then you're gonna go and turn
Why are you bringing this to a sex thing? It could be a girl.
sponsored.
Why could a girl not buy Dollar Shave Club supplies? Hashtag get wrecked.
Okay. Technically, strictly speaking, although Dollar Shave Club does aim most of their marketing at men, women get sold a lot of stupid gimmicks when it comes to shaving supplies too. And maybe that's it. Maybe all of you guys are already signed up for Dollar Shave Club at dollarshaveclub.com/Linus. But maybe you know some female friends who could benefit from, a quad blade or even 6-blade executive razor. You know what? They call it the executive.
You can be a female executive.
Damn it! It's 2014. We have female executives.
Exactly.
Tell Marissa Myers that she can't have an executive razor.
And you know what? I can cook pretty well.
All
And
right.
I know there's probably some dudes in the audience that could cook.
So there you
pretty
go,
well, too.
guys.
They
Dollar
cook
Shave Club
sandwiches.
ships you high-quality razors and other bathroom supplies, including their One Wipe Charlie's butt wipes for men or women, as well as their aftershave and their shave butter, which goes on clear so you can see what you're doing. Twice as important when you're shaving a particularly tender area. So dollarshaveclub.com/Linus, guys. Check it out now. Join the club. Start shaving time and shaving money.
Okay, so how to get... That was hilarious.
How to get that shirt?
How to get this shirt and like a whole ton of extra shirts when you go to different gaming conventions. A lot of what they try to get you to do to get the free shirt, which is not free at all, is pre-order their game. Pre-ordering games is
not free.
Bull crap and is not free at all and is super stupid. So what you do is you go up to their booth and you pre-order everything you can so that you can get all their swag, but you do it on Amazon.
Oh, you're not really telling people this, are you?
I'm telling people this.
You're going to wreck the system for yourself. Actually, they'll never catch on, will they?
No, it doesn't matter. They're so oblivious.
All right, do it.
Tons of people, and like you probably already know about this, but just this is for the people that don't. Okay, because there's probably people out there that don't.
Emo Polar Bear says, my girlfriend prefers my Dollar Shave Club razors to her women's razors. There you go, guys. And Dollar Shave Club, if you're still watching, you guys need to get a lady razor going. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so what you do is you go up to the booth and you pre-order everything, so you get all their extra little things and their swag like shirts and stuff, and then you do it on Amazon because Amazon does not charge you until they ship. So then you just go back to your computer or go on your phone or whatever, go to your Amazon account, recent orders, cancel, done. You get all the swag for free. It took you like 2 extra seconds and you're done. So I got all the Ubisoft shirts. all of them, and like all the other shirts there that required a pre-order. Because I was just like, oh, I need to pre-order the game? Sure, cool, done.
People
awesome.
say you guys need to have an option to accept tips in your video descriptions. We have that. We have our monthly contributor thing. Or you can buy a t-shirt. Or you can just change your Amazon bookmark to one with our affiliate code. We have
also awesome.
instructions to how to do that linked in every one of our video descriptions. That helps us out a lot. I mean, between us girls, Amazon affiliate revenue has become a way for me to continue expanding the team. Like, it's turned into not just a couple bucks here and there. So you guys have been amazingly supportive, but I mean, more is always better, because as much as we just hired someone, I would like to add more, because I mean, Luke's going to be out of the office for a week out of the next 2 weeks, you know, traveling to shows and doing show coverage and stuff like that. We're going to need,
We're going to be out for at least 2 days.
Yep.
How many?
Three, I think.
Three, yeah.
No, I'm out for 5 too, because I'm doing 2 events too.
How are we going to do anything?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. But the point is, I hired him because I needed help. We're getting to the point where Luke needs help. So if you guys like encourage people you know, or ask permission and then change people's browser bookmarks to Amazon to ones with our affiliate code, every little bit helps. Especially people you know who shop on Amazon a lot.
We need to find a way that we can have it as an auto executable off a flash drive.
Yeah, there's also a browser toolbar. Oh, actually, that would be brilliant. No, that's like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So you're a terrible person. Actually, that's kind of smart. What if we had Linus Tech Tips branded USB drives that basically we sold like at a loss, so people could buy USB drives from us on the cheap, but that had that preloaded, but in a very upfront way. So the idea was, hey, you're buying this USB drive. This USB drive is designed to override your Amazon affiliate links when you plug it in.
We could just give them like a loader that loads it onto the...
People want a donate button on Twitch. Why?
We should just put a button on Twitch that links them to the store on the forum where they can become a...
Yeah.
We should actually have just a description on our Twitch page.
I love Twitch. They're my
links to
friends,
shirts and stuff.
but they don't need half of the monthly donation.
Yeah.
So,
But that is what I don't think they're asking for a sub button.
Yeah.
They're asking for a donation button.
Oh,
so
are
if
those
we
different?
had like links, yeah, those are different. A sub button is a Twitch subscription, because like my personal channel has a sub thing, and it has a donation thing, and it has a donate to Child's Play thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have to do the ALS donation. I haven't done that yet.
I did my MS one.
Oh, crap. Okay, yeah, I committed 500, and then Fractal's going to match it, so crap, I'll do that this weekend.
Cool.
All right, so let's move on to our next topic. This is something pretty quick, but the Asrock X99 Extreme 11 features 18 SATA 6 gigabit per second ports. This was originally posted by Top Pix on the forum, and I think rather than talking about this a whole lot, we're just going to let pictures do the talking.
Did you see the super scary thing though? Yeah, right there. Super scary.
I've seen Asrock motherboards with chipset fans before that don't turn on unless you enable them. So I'm not sure if they have that here, but one of their previous Extreme 11 boards was like that. The problem is that it ran so hot that you had to enable the fan on that particular model. Look at this, though.
That's ridiculous.
2 USB 3 headers.
Just because whatever.
Because why not? Should we give Asrock a chance? Is Asrock participating in our 4-way motherboard ease of use shootout? I think they did, didn't they?
I found a board for it.
Yeah, we have a board. So let's give Asrock a chance to win us over, because the last time I really tried to use an Asrock board
It was back in the like Blue Room days at NCX, I think.
Yep, and the last time I put an Asrock board in my own system was a 939 Dual.
Oh.
That was like Optron 165 dual core days. All right, Steam Client Beta Update brings better streaming support overall, especially to AMD cards. This was originally posted on the forum by Welcome. So you want to cover this one?
Yeah, there's a few things actually. They're also doing tweaks to stream Steam Music, where it can find music inside Steam directories. That probably should have been there by default, guys, because you can kind of buy soundtracks with games, and it wasn't automatically picking them up, and that's super stupid. But it can now, which is great. There's UI improvements. They're reducing energy usage when it's running in the background, but it just kind of generally supports. They're saying in-home streaming support now available for AMD cards.
Cool.
That's a note in here. I didn't know that it wasn't available before.
I think it wasn't optimized because the thing is for every encode and decode like combination, they have to make sure it all works. Right. And with all the different hardware encoders and decoders that are out there, there's a lot of optimization for Valve to do for what was, at least at the last time I talked to him, basically a one-man army team.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
You can now stream from Linux, from a Linux host to PCs now, which is interesting. You can use VCE hardware encoding of direct 3D games now if you have a Radeon 77XX, whatever numbers those are at the end, or a R9 200
series above the 240.
Above 240.
Okay, cool. Well, that'll just keep getting better, and then when we get an Android Steam client, then everything else will be irrelevant.
Yeah.
All right, so this is something that if you've been following me for a long time, then you might know about this already. What the bloody heck was that? Magma PCI something.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a video of this bad boy quite a while back. Oh, come on. There it is. Magma Express Box 3T, Thunderbolt External PCI Express Enclosure. And I got really amped about this product because it was basically a way to install a graphics card. Yeah, look, the old intro. I haven't seen that in forever. Let's watch it.
Hello.
All those sound effects were made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the sound. I barely remember the actual video sequence, but all the sound effects are like permanently ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, that was like actually cutting cardboard, and the ping for him winking is hitting a glass with a spoon. Because we were worried about like usage rights for sound effects, and we didn't have any sound effects libraries. Okay, so this bad boy lets you install graphics cards, sound cards, whatever else, and connect all of them to a PC via Thunderbolt. Well, the unfortunate thing about this was due to AMD, mostly AMD and NVIDIA as far as I could tell, and their support for this technology, it was not possible to install external graphics cards even though it was just a PCI Express 4X link over Thunderbolt. Well now, and this was originally posted by Random Kid on the forum, MSI has taken it into their own hands to release their new GS30 Shadow and gaming dock. So basically, it's a 13.3-inch notebook with just plain Intel onboard graphics and then an external PCI Express link to this box that will house an external graphics card. This is the ultimate to me because for carrying around, I use an Ultrabook. I'm not going to carry around a G750JZ all the time. I actually love the G750JZ.
JZ's a pretty big dude.
Great this notebook, I actually love this notebook. It's incredibly well cooled. It performs really well. It's done great for us on shows or like if this thing's like glitching out and the CPU usage is pinned at 100% and I'm trying to like capture footage or something, I know I can go to the G750 and it'll just be fine because it's basically desktop power. But the problem is I'm not going to carry that around with me all over the place unless I need that power all over the place, like at a show. So something like this is a great solution. Out and about, great battery life, get home, plug into the dock, got your peripherals, got your 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, and that desktop-grade graphics performance.
I'm excited to bench the crap out of this thing.
That's
what I'm excited for.
Me too.
Yeah.
Speaking of benching the crap out of things, totally not related to that at all, but LG confirmed that they are sending us their new curved 34. LG, man.
Be excited for a video about that from him. That's happening.
I am either going to conclude that it's the best thing ever, or I'm going to conclude that it's the best thing ever for people who want a curved monitor.
Yeah.
Both of those conclusions will be pretty darn positive. I already know this.
My favorite thing about LG monitors, too, is
Hashtag no bias.
My favorite thing about LG's monitors right now, at least, is that they can't they don't currently have some way to read all of the data on the monitor and send it back so that you don't have to assign like 6 different check marks saying that you're okay with all of your data being theirs when you buy the product.
Yeah, the monitors still don't suffer from those phone and smart TV issues.
Because I really wanted to just get a G3 and be happy with that. And then I was like...
It's kind of a cool phone.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so details of the new Moto G are available on Motorola's site. 5-inch 720p screen. They're going much bigger across the entire lineup.
Yeah.
8 and 16 gig versions available. SD card slot. 16 gig plus SD card. I'm kind of okay with, but I really wish we'd move to 32. 2 front-facing speakers again. Go Motorola. Is Motorola turning us into Motorola fanboys over here?
Slowly. Yeah. They need to work on battery life.
My first cell phone was actually a Motorola.
Mine was, I don't know what it was, because it was horrible, and it was the cheapest thing they could get me that had a sliding front, because I didn't want to flip one.
My mom is hard of hearing, so...
Oh, wait, smartphone. My first smartphone was not...
Oh, no, not smartphone. This is my first phone.
What?
Yeah. I know,
What?
I know. Hold on. Just calm your boobies.
What?
This is the Motorola V-Box. My mom's hard of hearing, so it wasn't so much...
Oh,
so we all got them.
Now I feel bad.
So it wasn't so much about the phone call experience, but more about the text. And this was one of the first options available ever. In fact, it might have been the first, with a full-fledged keyboard, full QWERTY keyboard, and actually a fairly good one. I got pretty fast on this thing. And there are no good pictures of it because, back when...
How could you take a good picture of that?
Back when this thing existed, 2 megapixels was pretty good for a digital camera. But we all had them. In order to talk, in order to use voice communication, you actually had to use a headset.
Beautiful.
Not Bluetooth headset, mind you.
Yeah,
wired inline headset. Or they had this goofy, stupid thing that clipped onto the battery cover that plugged into the headset jack, which wasn't very durable because apparently
that reminds me of remember how you'd trick out your Game Boy Color? It's all those weird attachments and the lights.
Never
and,
had a Game Boy Color.
Oh, did you have?
I was a Game Gear
Boy?
kid.
No, you're a Game Gear kid.
Game Gear kid.
How many landfills are filled with the batteries that you used for that?
That was the Game
Is
Gear.
that the reason why you jumped to rechargeables?
Was what drove me to rechargeables. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yep. The Game Gear single-handedly moved me to rechargeable
it was
batteries.
6, right? 6 double A's?
6 double A's.
Oof.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I thought I was just talking about... Yeah, no, I was talking about how you can attach that mic or whatever, right?
Sure.
And how you were explaining it reminded me of all the attachments and stuff you could get for stuff like Game Boy Color.
Right.
Or a Game Boy Classic, or a whole bunch of different Game Boys where you get the light, or the weird screen protector thing, or the screen magnifier, or the grip thing, and oh my goodness.
Or the chromed rims.
Basically.
Subwoofer.
Yeah.
Speaking of chromed rims and subwoofers, this was originally posted by James669, and Dell is showing off their latest 5K monitor. 4K? That is so 2014. Last quarter. Or this quarter. Next quarter. Dell will make available for the value price of $2,500 a 27-inch 14.7 megapixel monitor. This bad boy will not be able to be driven by DisplayPort 1.2. In fact, just to demo the thing, they had a Quadro 5000 running with dual DisplayPort 1.2 outputs out to the dual inputs on the monitor. I have to question why we need this. I can imagine this as a tech demo. I can see them creating this for a trade show or something. Hey,
Are they
we can
selling
do it.
it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to go on sale. It has a price already.
Yeah, $25. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like because we can. I mean, I'm already not sold on 4K because of the scaling issues in Windows.
Oh, God.
Once that gets addressed, let's all go 4K. But right now, it is not a great experience.
Right now, I think 1440p is pretty awesome.
And and that's one of the reasons I like LG's 34-inch ultra-wide so much, is that it's the same pixel pitch as a 27-inch 1440p monitor, but it's 3440 by 1440, so it's a nice high resolution, and it's so big. This isn't that big. It's only 27-inch. It's very high resolution, which means you're going to have to deal with text scaling. And it's going to be very, very difficult to run in a way that doesn't increase immersion in any way. So I love it because it's better technology for the sake of better technology, but I'm not a huge fan of the kind of graphics horsepower you're going to need to drive this thing. I think that's actually more than our triple 1440p surround setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever clarified the resolution that it runs at. In fact, oh yeah, here we go. 5120 by 2880. So that is twice the number of vertical pixels as a standard 27-inch monitor. And twice the horizontal resolution. In fact, I didn't even clue into that. This is to 1440p what 4K is to 1080p.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. Well, someone's got to push the envelope.
Yeah.
I hope it runs at 60 hertz. Based on that they needed 2 DisplayPort 1.2s, I suspect it will.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of 4K Blu-ray Discs are arriving in 2015 in an attempt to fight back against streaming media. This is posted by Dietrich W., and the original source here is from CNET, and we can look at this Blu-ray Disc logo and reminisce about a simpler time when optical media mattered.
You know, I'm slowly moving away from physical games.
Yeah, dog. Because it's pointless and stupid.
I
You were
still
wrong all along.
actually really like...
Hashtag get wrecked.
I would love to still be able to do it. Poking me in the face. It's probably not a good idea. I'm sick.
That's true.
That doesn't work that way. That might have helped. That's warm, moist air. But
Now I put it on my touchpad.
there you go.
I'm going to tell you where I'm going to put it next.
Oh, God. The only reason why is because it is worthless, because 99% of the time it just screws up and makes you download it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
If it actually had all of the usable data on the disc, then I would still be totally down.
I'm just floored we never went USB.
Why not? I don't know anyone who didn't think that was going to happen.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
And they're so cheap now. Like, they're so cheap. Okay, they're not as cheap as a sheet of plastic.
No.
I will give them that. But I gotta wonder, if someone had cared enough, could a USB standard have been developed that would have allowed for much cheaper, more permanent storage? I gotta wonder. I don't know enough about the technology to really speculate on this, but I and everyone else in probably the digital, generation world figured that you were going to go into a store, and this was back when we thought stores weren't going away. So you were going to go into a store and you were either going to buy a USB drive that would contain the music album, or you would go in with your USB drive and you would pick the album you want. You would sit and you would listen to it because, previews on iTunes, who saw that coming, and you would put the media onto your USB drive that way. I'm dating myself a little bit here, aren't I?
A little bit. But I was in that crowd of
HMV?
people. They still exist.
I know, but who
We still
cares?
have one locally.
I was in the town I grew up in the other weekend. I went to the bird sanctuary, and I drove past a Blockbuster that no, it's empty, but the signage is still up because no one's taken over the location. And I was like, oh, hey, that thing. I remember you. There was that secret room in the back.
Yeah. I never used Blockbuster because we didn't have one locally to me. So when everyone's like, oh my God, it's so weird seeing Blockbusters now that they're closed, I'm like, nope. Don't care.
It's all about Willow Video for you.
Yeah, which they're still going
They're
strong.
still around somehow.
They're doing better lately, which makes no sense.
All right, Taitya. Well, you know what? I think those non-chain types of stores probably appeal to an older audience better.
Yeah, but then also their game sales and stuff is doing great, and they still do because
that's inexplicable to me.
But they do console games largely.
Right.
They're slowly moving away from PC games,
and that's going to go away
makes
too.
Sense, probably.
All right, so Taitya posted on the forum Intel's new 14-nanometer chips. So Intel has made a lot of fuss over the last little while. This original article here is from BBC.com of all places.
BBC.
Pretty sure there are a number of other places that reported on this that are more technology oriented. Anyway, the point is that they have finally launched the Core M series, which goes all the way down to 4.5 watt CPUs based on their new 14-nanometer process node manufacturing.
Ridiculous.
This is amazing. So Intel has actually been talking a fair bit recently about how successful their move to 14-nanometer has been, which is great news, especially when you consider how rough it has been for a lot of other folks and how unexceptional Intel's last process node migration was. No, we're seeing better power characteristics, we're seeing better performance, we're seeing all this great stuff that is improving improved, not just in a linear manner this time around. So this is exciting. Intel had initially aimed to launch a full-fledged desktop lineup sooner, but at least they now have shipping chips that are going to be targeted at very low power and razor thin fanless tablets without without manufacturers having to resort to ARM-based CPU designs. So this is incredibly exciting. In much the same way that every time Intel completely changes the laws of how processors work is incredibly exciting. It's like Intel's a victim of their own success in that way. It's like, yeah, Intel like broke physics again. Whatever, same as they did last year.
It's not necessarily. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways, I was gonna say it's not necessarily breaking physics. Anyways,
I know,
no one cares.
But they might be breaking what we conventionally thought were the laws. That's what I meant.
I know. That's why I was like, no one cares. I'm probably like the only dude here that actually.
You dork.
Anyways. I like physics.
All right. Well, I think that's it for me. Do you have anything else?
No, there was...
Rig of the Week voting is a thing.
Yeah, voting. Go to build log section of the forum, vote for rig of the very large spans of time, because we're trying to kind of catch up. So there's a lot of rigs being voted on right now. So weigh in, and we will hopefully be blasting that on a WAN show sometime soon. Yeah, I have roped in Whaler and Alpenwasser to help me with build logs, so things are actually properly happening now, which are good. What?
I'm Luke Skywalker, because that's how the Force worked in the original trilogy. You're like a wampa. There goes your arm, sucker.
Oh,
You're
God.
big like one. Not that kind of thing. I mean, that too, but... anyway, moving on. What were we talking about? Oh, right! I forgot! Squarespace. We're doing our usual hashtag thing. So it's the first Squarespace integration of the month. So tweet your Squarespace, a link to your Squarespace site with hashtag linussquarespace, and you will have a chance to win your site hosted for free for a year.
Nice.
And that will be on our next Squarespace sponsorship spot, where we will pick one of you and we will go ahead and we will announce a winner. Free website for a year, guys. They have a 2-week trial, and our next spot should be within the next couple of weeks. So go ahead and create your site, and then you could win your site to continue developing for a year. So that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's probably it. Oh, there was I think it was overclockers.uk or something. Had listed a graphics card in the description. It was like, get ready for Half-Life 3 and my phone going off is distracting me. Half-Life 3 and GTA 5 launches. Should I answer this and troll whoever it is?
Sure.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh,
Hi, Mom. You're on the show.
I know, I need to speak to Linus.
your mom's on Shaw Home phone, isn't she?
No, I think that's her Note 3.
Oh, all right. Well, at any rate, all right. What do we got?
Linus,
Mm-hmm.
the first time you took my kid out of country, you stuck him at the top of the tallest building in the world when there was an
What
earthquake.
happened on this trip?
Yeah, well, actually, that was Western Digital's idea.
Linus, who's in charge?
Well,
One could argue.
I'm
that
going
on
to go with the
sponsored
safe
trip.
answer here and say my wife.
Ooh.
Ah, yes.
No, but okay, let's go. The second time you took him out of the country, you stuck him on the top of a mountain where he was dizzy and throwing up.
Not the second time.
Yeah, I think she means like the second time that stood out to her, which means she was deeply concerned for your safety.
Right.
Okay, what is it this time?
Or the second time, or what it means is when Linus is in charge and he takes you out of the country, your life is in danger.
Okay.
I also asked to go on that trip.
And now you want to take him to Germany.
Yes.
What's
Actually,
wrong with that?
Germany's safe.
Yeah.
Give me a heads up on how you're going to try to kill him in Germany.
Well, the way that he would be most likely to die in Germany would be from... How politically incorrect can I go with this? You know, maybe I won't go there. So the way that he would be most likely to die in Germany would be probably from sensory overload from being surrounded by Cherry MX key switches. So it's pretty safe. The odds of that happening is probably only about 50-50.
Only 50-50. Okay. Question, Linus.
Yes.
Did you take life insurance on Luke?
I think he has it through the... Yeah, I think you pay your own premium because that way, if you have to have it paid out, it's not taxable or something.
Like
yeah,
that.
Luke pays his own premium, but yes, he does have life insurance, I believe. But I think he chooses his own beneficiary, and I don't think he picked me. Did you?
No.
Oh, all right then.
Hashtag get wrecked.
Linus, if he doesn't come back in 100% total intact person, I will be coming for you.
All right, thank you, caller. I think it's time to go back to the phone boards and find another caller. All right, so guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. It'll be him and, in all likelihood, Cold SC, his brother, talking about the same kind of stuff. Thanks again for watching. We totally appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys have been amazing. The last few weeks, we've been consistently over 5,000 live viewers on the show,
beast.
even if we factor out all of Luke's family members who apparently watch. And apparently everyone's like totally into the archive these days.
Yeah.
Every archive, like 80,000, 90,000
Pretty
views.
cool, actually.
You guys are making us feel like an actual legit podcast these days,
Which is interesting.
which is kind of cool.
Because I listen to a lot of different podcasts.
I look at podcasters who are much bigger than us. Guys like Ray William Johnson. So his Runaway Thoughts podcast. You can say what you want about Ray William Johnson's content. The truth of the matter is, he's a much bigger deal than us in terms of sheer numbers in every possible category. He quit YouTube, but he's still doing, I think he still does the podcast and he's still creating content.
Okay.
And he didn't quit that long ago. So anyway, the point is, we're coming up to the point now where it's not like WAN Show gets like 1/20th as many views as Runaway Thoughts. It's like smaller or bigger fractions, rather. So we're not there yet, but you guys are awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate our sponsors, Squarespace and Dollar Shave Club. And I've said this a few times now, but we will see you next week. Except me. I will not. Ah, damn it.
My brother's really into mobile stuff. And a lot of the stuff recently is, like, next week is probably going to be mobile stuff, so that's
Should be good. The WAN Show! I'm making my own theme song! It's all about the WAN Show! On the line is tag tips, we're riffing now! This is the song that is so awesome!
And we're done. No? We're not done?